Do you recognize this?
This is Les Smithart, and he's playing Mimi Shawn, which he made and named after his daughter. He grew up around people who loved music. As a child, he remembers Sundays when family and friends would gather for a day of music.
Well, that's where my desire, I guess, first started.
You might now. Maggie.
I'd always wanted to hear something in the violin from the time I was a kid until now that I hadn't heard. I wanted to make one. I wanted to make one. My father and grandfather had worked on them, but they had never made a violin. Fiddles are made by fools like me, but it took a big man to grow that tree. I only use foreign woods. I don't like native wood. Acoustically, I don't like it.
And he's been collecting it since he was 14. Not just any wood will do. Among other things, it should be around 200 years old. Today, he's got enough to make 1,100 violins.
When I take out a piece of wood and I use it, I get as near that piece of wood in as old as I can to replace it with, you move it in and you move it out, see.
That's the way the masters he apprenticed with in Chicago did it. Replacing the wood ensures that there will be plenty for the next generation of violin makers. Les is proud of his wood, and if he's going to build one for you, he'll show you pictures of others he's made and of wood he has left.
The masters did not have finer wood to work with or prettier wood to work with, see. They didn't have it. So if old Smithhart don't make some fine fiddles, he can't lay it on to anything but himself. And if the good Lord blesses me with a steady hand and a good eye and the strength and the knowledge to do it, I will turn out more and more and more fine violins.
Obviously, his first love is making them, but he enjoys playing them almost as much.
I like that kind of fiddle. I like a jazz type fiddle.
I have 27 violins. You always number your violins, and they know you work, you know, from one. It's like handwriting. Now we have people that have Stradivarius and Gorniers and the great violins. They'll say, no, they'll never match them. They'll never do it. Yeah, they will. It's being done today, but it takes a little time.
Les usually spends over a year constructing each of his masterpieces. He begins by lovingly selecting the wood.
It's like a man and woman when they marry. They either marry each other and they work with each other in a loving-like manner, or they fight each other. Now, too hard a top would fight too hard a back. I like to pick out the wood that can marry each other and live happy ever after.
The wood is slowly chiseled down until it's the precise thickness desired.
I like the way that sounds.
The scroll is cut from a single block of wood.
Before these sides take shape like this, see, they are strips of wood like so.
The strips are soaked in a special solution and then carefully bent into those hot iron forms and left to dry.
You have about 35 pieces of wood glued together there in these sides to a violin, see?
Before a violin leaves the shop, it has to be stained and then varnished over and over again.
I always like to make them antique, you know. I don't like to make them just like something brand new, just you know. It takes too long for them to get old and have that aged look. I like a house that's been lived in. It takes a heap of living to make a house a home.
To make the stains and varnishes, Les uses rare and exotic concoctions of roots and tree bark and oils and dragon's blood.
Dragon's blood sounds like something, you know, scary, but it's just the beautiful red colors.
There is only one way to tell how well a violin's made. Listen to it.
If that 5/12 vibration rings out, and if you have a tone that's sweet and melodious and like a girl talking to you, calling you to supper. All right, your supper's ready. It's cold, but come on in. You have to eat what's left over. Now, that's the fiddle. You ain't got much confidence in that, but if she says, honey, it's all warm. Sit down here and eat with me now. We've got, see what you think about it. See, soft, gentle voice in a sweet-like way. Dog, that's fine, you know. That's a violin. This other is a fiddle. Here's a good one I learned from Stuff Smith. Boy, he could play some fiddle. He was rough, but he had expression. And I've played music all my life for a living, you know. And old Hank Williams, he used to sit right over there by that, I told you I'd show you that green safe. He used to sit there, and he'd get pretty well on his way before we'd go to the job, but we'd go and he'd always finish the job anyway. Hawkshaw Hawkins, Cowboy Copas, Lord, what some times I remember. If I don't feel good, I leave my violin alone. A violin maker doesn't make too much money. You got to be recognized and be dead for 200 years like Strad and Cornelius.
A violin made by Les Smithart will cost you in the neighborhood of $3,000.
Last June the 16th, I was 60 years old. And in my time, from the horse and buggy days to the flight to the moon, I would think would be one of the greatest times that a person could live. Now, if you get any more, you're going to have to go down there and get you a ticket at the door.